Hello students, today we are going to discuss chromosomal theory of inheritance under the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variation. So this chromosomal theory of inheritance, it means that the characters which are transmitted or inherited from parents to the offsprings are based on the nature of chromosome, means they get transferred through chromosome. And it is also true because chromosomes are thus made up of DNA, and the genes are also a segment of DNA which are present on the chromosome. So here we are going to discuss how people came to know that the factors which are discussed by Mendel, that the inheritance is carried out by some discrete or independent units which are called as genes. Present day, at the time of Mendel, he called these genes as factors, and all the laws of inheritance can be discussed or explained on the basis of nature of chromosome also. So the work of Mendel remained unrecognized for a very long period of time. Mendel was a very pioneer scientist in the field of genetics, but at the time of his experimental work, his work was not very popular, or the people or the biologists at that time did not recognize his work. So there were several reasons for which the Mendel's works did not got recognition or importance during his lifetime. The theories or the laws of Mendel's law became popular only after his death. After year 1900, he was in year 1900 he died, and after his death, some scientists, three scientists, Correns, De Vries and Schermer, rediscovered Mendel's work, because at that time the preliminary knowledge of chromosome was known to everyone. So the chromosomal theory is exactly the copy of genes. Means what we discuss in terms of genes is truly applicable to the chromosomes also. So let us first discuss why Mendel's work did not get recognition during his lifetime. So reasons for Mendel's work unrecognized. Reasons. There were several reasons for Mendel's work unrecognized. कुछ ऐसे कारण थे, there were some very important factors कि उस समय मेंडल्स के वर्क को उतना इम्पोर्टेंस, उतना तवज्जो नहीं मिला. So the first important reason is that at the time of Mendel, the process of publication of experimental work was not very easy. Means जो भी publication होती है experiments की, it was not very easy to publish experimental work or experiments in a international journal. So his work was not published in a very famous. His work or experiments could not published in a famous journal. It was published in a very local journal, famous. So this is the main reason, because until and unless experimental work is published in a international journal, it cannot reach to the wide number of peoples or large number of peoples, scientists throughout the world. क्योंकि उनका वर्क एक लिमिटेड लोगों के पास ही spread हो पाया. It could not spread throughout the entire world. So his work was not recognized to a very large number of people. And the second reason for his work being unrecognized is Mendel had not given the region of inheritance. He called the unknown factors, means he did not have an idea of gene or chromosome. So the idea of gene and chromosome at that time was missing. There was no discovery inside the cell. So due to these ideas, his work was also not became authentic at that time. So Mendel did not have idea of at that time genes and chromosomes were not discovered. Not discovered. क्योंकि उस समय जीन्स की और क्रोमोसोम्स की जानकारी किसी के पास नहीं थी. But after the discovery of these chromosomes, and when people studied the process of mitosis and meiosis, they saw that the movement of chromosomes and the separation of chromosomes during mitosis and meiosis truly discuss the inheritance process of Mendel, because in inheritance there is formation of gametes and separation of chromosomes, which was only become clear after the discovery of chromosome in year 1902 by Sutton and Boveri. And these scientists, Sutton and Boveri, actually gave the chromosomal theory of inheritance, which is similar to that of Mendel's laws of inheritance. But it only got recognition after 1900, year 1900, and till the Darwin was alive, his work was not very popular, and his work was unrecognized by majority of the biological community. And the second reason is the chromosomes and genes were not discovered at that time. And the third reason for Mendel's failure, temporary failure, we can see that he was not a biologist. So Mendel was a mathematician, and the biologist and other biologists of that time were unable to understand the findings of Mendel, or they were not believing the work of Mendel, because Mendel was not a biologist by nature, he was a mathematician. So the third reason for his work getting unrecognized is Mendel was not a biologist, but a mathematician. And the famous biologist at that time did not give importance or we are not accepting that how a mathematician is going to explain the biological phenomena. So this is the third reason why Mendel work was not very important, did not get recognition. All the experiments, all the work of Mendel got importance or become famous only after three scientists again rediscovered they rediscovered the work of Mendel, and it was only after the discovery of gene and chromosome. So this is the reason. So we can say that the chromosomal theory of inheritance came after the discovery of chromosome. And people start believing that what Mendel had said without knowing the structure or the nature of chromosome and genes is exactly true when these are genes and chromosomes are discovered and their nature is exactly similar to the theory of inheritance explained by Mendel. So the rediscovery of Mendel's work. How Mendel's work reached to the greater number of people or acceptance by the biologists. So the Mendel's work was rediscovered by three scientists called De Vries. The three scientists were De Vries, Correns, and Sherlock. So these were the three scientists who actually started to study the work or the experiments conducted by Mendel. And it was very easy for them because at that time, and these experiments actually, the work of Mendel started in the year 1900. So after 20 years of death of Mendel, these works started. And it was easy for them to understand the experiments of Mendel because at that time in 1900 there was advancement due to advancement in microscopy. There was advancement in microscopy. इस समय तक एडवांस लेवल के माइक्रोस्कोप डेवलप हो गए थे and the people were the scientists were able to observe the nucleus and chromosomes. So the nucleus and chromosomes were observed. Nucleus and chromosomes clearly observed. And other process, different events of cell were also able to study by these microscope, like process of cell division and cell cycle. So the process of cell division was understood because people had that advanced type of microscope and they can observe the movement of chromosomes during the process of cell division. So due to these understanding of the cells, chromosomes, mitosis and meiosis, these three scientists were able to understand or rediscover the Mendel of work, like Mendel's dihabit, trihabit crosses and different experiments on the basis of their information about cell, chromosome, nature of gene, movement of chromosome during cell division. All these events or discoveries were made in year 1900 up to 1900, and so these people, the work of Mendel which we study today is actually the rediscovered work of Mendel by these three important scientists, and only then we are able to understand that the genes are the unit of inheritance, which Mendel called them discrete units or factors. Mendel did not use the word gene because at the time of Mendel conducted these experiments in 1860s, and at that time microscopy was not very advanced, and chromosomes and genes were not observed at that time. So Mendel was unaware of these things, chromosomes and genes, and about their nature. So he could not tell about that the genes are the basis of inheritance, but he told that some factors are responsible for inheritance, which was cleared by the study or the rediscovery work of Hugo de Vries, Collins and Serma. So these scientists have very important contribution to make Mendel's work famous or recognized through the entire world in the biological community. Now after this, two scientists, Sutton and Boveri, they especially studied the detailed process of cell division and cell cycle. And based on these their study, after study cell division and cell cycle, and when they made an analogy between genes, which is a unit of inheritance, and chromosome, there is similarity between genes and chromosome. And what is this? It was explained in the chromosomal theory of inheritance, which was given by Sutton and Boveri. So let us discuss it. So finally, a theoretical concept was given about the chromosome, which is popularly called as chromosomal theory of inheritance, and it was given by the two scientists, Theodor Sutton and Walter Sutton and Theodor Boveri. So the two scientists which gave the chromosomal theory was Walter Sutton and Theodor Boveri. These were the two scientists who made a detailed study of the process of cell division and chromosome behavior, and they conducted their study in year 1902. They studied about chromosome behavior इन्होंने क्रोमोसोम के बिहेवियर के बारे में स्टडी किया ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस ऑफ सेल डिवीजन, माइटोसिस एंड मियोसिस. ड्यूरिंग सेल डिवीजन and they clearly observed the movement of chromosomes. Observed observe the movement of chromosomes. इन्होंने क्या किया, क्रोमोसोम्स के मूवमेंट को क्लियरली ऑब्जर्व किया ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस ऑफ डिवीजन, सेल डिवीजन, एंड दे यूज्ड टू explain Mendels experiments on the basis of the nature of the chromosome. So this is called a chromosomal theory of inheritance, because what they observe that during the meiosis there is separation of chromosomes, and it is also exactly true that in Mendel's law of inheritance during gamete formation the alleles are separated. And alleles actually are present in the chromosome. So these, when they related their knowledge of chromosome behavior with Mendel's law of experiments, they found that there is similarity between them, and so they popularly called their findings as the chromosomal theory of inheritance. So according to this theory, there is some similarity found in genes and chromosomes. So let us see how genes and chromosomes are similarity. Genes और chromosomes similar कैसे हैं? Similarity between genes and chromosomes. Mendels discussed that the genes are pairs in the form of alleles. So genes occur in pair. And in diploid organisms, the chromosomes are also in pairs. So chromosomes also occur in pair. So this is a similarity between genes. What Mendel said about genes was found same or identical with the nature of chromosomes, because the chromosomes in a cell are also present in a pairs, in homologous pairs. So there is similarity between Mendel's law of inheritance, which is based on genes, and chromosomal theory of inheritance, which was given by Walter Sutton and Theodore Boveri. Both at the time of gamete formation, genes get unpaired. So unpaired at the time of gamete formation. For the chromosomes in the process of meiosis, at the time of anaphase 1, the homologous chromosomes get separated. So homologous chromosomes get separated during anaphase. Anaphase 1 of meiosis. Meiosis 1 में क्या होती है? Homologous chromosomes के जो pairs में होते हैं, they get separated into two cells, which is similar to the Mendel's law of inheritance, in which the gametes before fertilization and the time of gamete formation, the alleles get separated. So and the third important point regarding this is the genes or the alleles separate independently of another allele. So the separation is independent. Alleles separate independently. And in case of chromosomes, also during the anaphase, the separation of chromosome is also independent. So, chromosome separation is independent. So these are some important points which make similarity between genes and chromosomes, and this was only explained when these two scientists, Walter Sutton and Theodore Boveri, studied the nature of chromosome or observed the chromosomes in advanced type of microscope, and they observed the whole process of mitosis and meiosis, and based on these studies they relate their knowledge with the Mendels experiments and found that in many cases the nature of chromosome and nature of genes are similar, and finally it is concluded that the genes are nothing but a part of chromosome. They are present on the chromosome on homologous pairs. So the nature of genes is similar to nature of chromosomes, because the genes are a segment of chromosome. So this is the chromosomal theory of inheritance. After this, scientists were and after this discovery, the Mendels work become famous or recognized throughout the biologists of the time, and Mendel's law of inheritance can be applicable in other organisms also, with few exceptions. So this is Mendel's, but this is the theoretical, but the experimental basis of Mendel's law of chromosomal theory of inheritance was discussed by some other scientists, T.H. Morgan. T.H. Morgan in Drosophila melanogaster. So next we will discuss the experimental proof of chromosomal theory of inheritance. Now the experimental proof of chromosomal theory of inheritance, it was actually given by a very renowned geneticist at that time, T.H. Morgan. T.H. it was given by T.H. Morgan. T.H. Morgan was a geneticist, and he conducted his experiment on Drosophila melanogaster. The experimental animal, the experimental organism is Drosophila melanogaster. Drosophila melanogaster. It is a small fly, fruit fly. The common name is fruit fly. So he isolated different cells of Drosophila melanogaster and observed the process of mitosis and meiosis in this insect, and found that the chromosomes or the inheritance of pattern of different characters is well discussed according to chromosomal theory of inheritance. He actually conducted 3 to 4 characteristic features like bar bodies, eye color, and some other size of the wings of the Drosophila. And based on these study, he experimentally proved in an animal that chromosomal theory of inheritance, which was given by Sutton and Boveri, is accurate and correct. So there are several reasons why he selected this organism Drosophila melanogaster for his experiment. Regions for selection. What were the regions for the selection of Drosophila melanogaster को इन्होंने, the first important reason is that it can be grown on a synthetic medium. Drosophila can be grown on synthetic medium. Means lab के लिए, for the laboratory culture, it is very ideal organism. Synthetic medium. Also, the life cycle is very small, 2 weeks. Life cycle is very small, very short life cycle. Weeks. And the organism is also very small. The size of the organism is very small. Size is very small. And Drosophila melanogaster gives large number of progeny. The number of offsprings per mating is also very high. Produces large number of offsprings. Large number of offsprings. Large number of offsprings से क्या फायदा होगा? Because we can conduct a large number of experiments within a very short time period. बहुत सारे characters को हम study कर सकते हैं within a very short period. So due to these ideal conditions, the Drosophila melanogaster was selected for the experimental tool for chromosomal theory of inheritance. So one more reason is also for their selection. The sexes, the male and female fly are very distinct. So males or female fly of Drosophila are easily differentiated. So it was another reason for this Drosophila. Fifth point I write here. Male and female flies. Male and female flies easily differentiable. So these are the reasons for the success of T.H. Morgan's experiments and would explain the chromosomal theory of inheritance. Thank you.